Welcome, everybody, to today's game in the Flesh and Blood Competitive Team League. I'm Andy Modell, joined with Crawling Krakow champion Yuanji Lee.
Hello, hello.
All right, and today we have a game between Sam from Team Foundry and Cody from the Hyperloops. Sam on the left with Bravo Showstopper, and Cody on the right rocking Bolton.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting matchup. It was a little bit more prevalent before Tales of Aria had come out. Um, Bolton can play it one of two ways. You can go kind of more for like a value, like tempo-based strategy with Raiden, or you can elect to go Sabers and just try to combo the Bravo out and finish off with like a Beacon of Victory. Bravo, on the other hand, can actually be built quite a few different ways now, so it'll be interesting to see what Sam has elected to do, whether he's on more tempo-based strategy or more defensive, like auras-based strategy.
Yeah, so I know that a lot of the Bolton builds are able to make the switch between the Raiden or the Sabers. Or do you think that that's something where if Cody has gone that way, he's going to choose one or the other into Bravo? Or do you think it's more that he's made that decision ahead of time and his deck is going to focus on that one strategy?
So usually, you have to. There's some trade-offs that you get if you want to have like a hybrid build. You're not really as good at either one, and that being the case, I think that if it was me, I would probably be a little bit more comfortable going combo and just trying to win off of that. However, Bravo has some counterplay to the combo, which is like pretty good. Stonewall Confidence is a card that didn't really see much play until like the tail end of the Tales of Aria season. And that's like a card that basically like shuts down the combo on the turn, so it just like kind of delays the combo for longer. And then Bravo can pressure the Bolton with stuff like Crippling Crush. And if the Bravo forces you to discard like one or two Lumina Ascensions, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, there are definitely ways that Bravo Showstopper can be disruptive that you don't really see in Bravo Star of the Show builds for sure.
Yeah, I think for the viewers who maybe just started playing when Bravo started the show, uh, uh, came into uh, came into the metagame, Bravo Showstopper generally plays like a little bit more measured game. Isn't as focused on kind of being like really aggressive off of the initial go through their deck. Although in this matchup, I think now that Cody's revealed that he's going Sabers, I think the Bravo does want to be pressuring as much as possible.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes out. The players have revealed all of their equipment, so it looks like they're ready to get started. We've got Sam ended up flipping over that, but that's a Bravo Showstopper with Sam on the left against Cody on the right with Sir Bolton. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. This is the fifth match of this pair up in the league right now. The Hyperloops are actually up 4-0, so this is all for tiebreakers, but it should still be an exciting game.
So this is actually like one of Bravo's probably strongest opening turns. He got to play the Showtime right off the bat, so he's going to be able to basically play like a six-card hand because he gets to Arsenal his last card plus have five cards in his hand at the beginning of the next turn with a Seismic Surge.
Yeah, and with that Seismic Surge, the Crippling Crush is only going to take 2 blues to play, so he'll be able to do whatever he needs to block out Cody's attack and still likely be able to get that in full force.
Yeah, usually the Bolton player can't really pressure Bravo too hard. While you're trying to set up the combo, all you can do is maybe throw like one charge attack. So you're attacking for like 3 to 4 um, at a time. The rest of Cody's deck should be defense reactions or other cards designed to help him kind of like stay alive or like stall out. Now that Cody knows that there's a crippling crush waiting for him the next turn, probably he is going to be trying to cycle through as much of his hand as possible to find like a soul shield or like some other kind of defense reaction to be able to play.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's doing, using all of his cards so that he can charge via the Vanguard twice and really take all of these non defense reaction cards out of play for that Crippling Crush.
This is actually really big to start off with via the Vanguard. A big part of the Bolton player's strategy is trying to hit at least like 3 cards in Soul before going off with 2 or 3 Lumina Ascensions. So via the Vanguard, being able to put 2 cards in Soul is fairly accelerates your game plan basically by a turn.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation here, especially because the cards in Soul, you have that sort of dual option. You either save them up for the combo, or you can use them to give things go again. Obviously, right now he's not worried about giving things go again, but later in the game, after the combo pulls off, if Bravo is able to stop things, he still wants to have that back pool in the Soul so he can be aggressive enough to finish the game out.
Yeah, the Soul, I think, after you combo becomes really important. Um, One of the ways that you get value towards the late game is having Celestial Cataclysms or having like a Beacon of Victory pump your attack by like anywhere between like 5 to like maybe even like plus 10 power.
Yeah, so over here we see Sam is pitching a blue pummel, which usually, pummel is a especially dangerous card to see on top of the, on top of a crippling crush. Usually you don't have enough resources to play it, but given the 6 card hand, there was a possibility there. Looks like instead he's activating Bravo's ability to give that dominate, so that's coming in for 11 with dominate, and by the shuffling of his hand, Cody's just going to take all of that damage.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of a tell that the last card in Sam's hand isn't a blue. It's probably either like another like red guardian attack. Otherwise he would probably have elected not to what's it called? Not to make the seismic surge and dominate the attack instead of playing for that blue pummel.
Yeah, and Cody just putting that energy potion on the field, arsenaling the last card. Looks like the 2 cards he discarded weren't as valuable. They weren't those combo pieces that he wants to keep in hand. So I think he's not necessarily thrown off his game at this point, though he is down by 9 life already.
Yeah, Cody also choosing not to block at all on that hand. Kind of clues you in that the card that he's arsenaling is probably one of his combo pieces. Not wanting to maybe like increase the chances that he discards it. There's a chance that it could be a defense reaction as well, although I think it's probably more worthwhile to kind of like save the life in the situation than to gamble on not discarding a defense reaction.
Yeah, one thing we did notice earlier is he pitched an Oath of Steel, which is one of those new Everfest cards that can make the combo more effective. So I think having this energy potion out here to potentially have the combo off with the Oath of Steel just makes it a bit easier for him to potentially have that explosive turn that wins the game. Over on this turn, though, we have a Command and Conquer, which is threatening that Arsenal card, and it looks like Cody is willing to sacrifice a Celestial Cataclysm to keep that card down there.
Yeah, so this is like one of the strongest combinations. Oh, it was just Express Lightning. So
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the strongest combinations that Bravo can really threaten against Bolton. Bolton really needs to keep the arsenal in order to combo off. If it was a card like Lumina Ascension, that would have been huge. However, it was just a charge card.
Yeah, and in this series, this week, we've seen a lot of very powerful Command and Conquer plus pummels. In a game between the old him piloted by J-Mags against a Viserai, we saw that a Command and Conquer and a pummel got not one, but 2 Mordred Tides out of the game. So definitely something that we've seen a lot of this week for great effect.
Yeah, Command and Conquer is one of those cards that, like, depending on what heroes are popular, it's either like one of the best cards in the format or one of the worst cards. Against Starvo and Oldhim, who run Crown of Seeds, Command and Conquer is not really that worthwhile because it costs an action point. However, against some of the decks that are looking to set up like these like 4 or 5 card hands, like Viscera you mentioned, and Bolton, Command and Conquer is really powerful.
Yeah, and it looks like following that turn, Cody just put the card in Arsenal, ending it, and the ball is back in Sam's court.
So one thing, Cody's been trying to, I think, get a card in Soul for the last 2 turns. However, Bravo's been able to keep up the disruption. Let's see if he can continue to pull gas off the top. I don't know how many red Sam is playing, but that also plays a big role in whether like how aggressive you can be with your Bravo deck.
Yeah, earlier you mentioned that it was likely a red card going into his arsenal. I think that was the Command and Conquer. So we are seeing these show up where they would be signaled at least. And it looks like Sam is carefully considering his next move, probably has a lot of options in those 5 cards. In general, how does Bravo Showstopper's aggressiveness compare to the other versions of Guardians? Oldhim obviously is usually very defensive, can be aggressive, and Bravo Star of the Show tends to be one of the most aggressive heroes in the game, unless he's doing a very blockout strategy.
So Bravo depends on how you position your deck. There are some cards that are much better in Bravo for aggression than in the other Guardian decks. So a card like Zealous Belting, for example, is a lot more power out of the Bravo deck because you can play it with pitching like a card that costs more than 3 and has 6 or more power. Get the go again, and then pitch one more card, and then the Anothos, which is really like the difference between Bravo Showstopper and the other Guardians that are running one-hand weapons. So
Mm-hmm.
Anothos basically can convert that second blue that you pitch into like a 6 power attack. Being able to like put together 11 power off of basically like 3 cards is pretty strong. Similar in power actually to what Bravo Star of the Show can do off like a triple fuse. So Bravo has like that going for him. On the first cycle, the weakness of Bravo when it comes to the aggressive strategy is that it's difficult to run enough reds in your deck to consistently put out turn after turn of pressure. So if you see like right now, all Sam is doing is basically setting up a showtime to be able to do another powerful turn the next turn. So this turn is basically doing 0 damage.
Now,
Um,
correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure quite. How exactly does imposing Vestige's cost work? Is that X3, meaning that it's 3 resources plus X, or is it a multiplication?
It's 3 resources plus X. So actually, if Sam has a blue, he can attack with the Anothos for 6. However, it kind of plays into what Cody's trying to do. So that's what he's gonna do right now. He's gonna attack for 6. The Bolton deck, like before it assembles the combo, just really wants to block 2 cards and then attack with one charge card, preferably cost 0 and charge a card. So doing this like attack, while you do want to keep the pressure, sometimes it's actually better not to attack in the situation, depending on what your strategy for the matchup is.
Yeah, so what we did end up seeing was the imposing vestige fetched the showtime, which got that crippling crush into hand. And then this Anothos is being blocked. It looks like only by the sink below, or no normal defense, just the reaction over here. So through all of this, Cody did decide to keep a lot of cards, but he still only has 2 in Soul, which usually isn't enough to go off on the combo, even if he has a lot over there.
Yeah, that probably makes sense if he has something like a take flight, which is you need like a card to pitch, potentially.
Yeah, over here we do see a Bolt of Courage. This only comes in for 2, but it has an on hit to draw a card. So there's a chance, but a low chance, that the Bravo will let it through and give that card to Cody. But overall, this is a very easily blockable threat, really just giving that utility of the card in Soul. Right now, Cody up to 3.
Yeah, Sam chooses to block it with armor, so Cody can't give the card go again. One line that Cody could have done if Sam had decided to block with an attack is give the card go again and then play another card with charge and charge. So he nets 0. He nets like still the same number of cards charged, but he gets to cycle through his deck more.
Yeah,
One downside to that play, however, is you kind of do need a lot of armor on the turn that Cody does decide to go off. It's like one of the ways that you can block Satari Sabers without powering up the saber. So they're gonna be coming in for like 5, probably on the go off turn, potentially 6 if he has 3 Luminas.
Yeah, and with the combo, if they block, say, the first sword attack with an attack, the buff continues on for each sequential attack with that same sword. So you really want to start focusing by blocking with equipments or non-attack cards until those later swings.
Yeah, it looks like Sam's version of Bravo does have quite a few non-attack cards. He's playing the Imposing Visages. He's playing the Showtimes. I don't know. I don't know what other cards so far. In his pitch, he's pitched Pummel and mostly attack. So all of those are effectively going to block like two.
Yeah, looks like debating whether or not to pitch that choke slam, making sure he understands everything Cody has on the board equipment wise. But with 6 cards over here, we know one of those is a Crippling Crush. Chances are that Sam is going to have a turn that could potentially disrupt Cody's game plan again.
Yeah, Cody chose not to block an extra like points of damage, and then he has like one kind of like flex card, I guess, which is the card that he sunk. But then there's one extra card that he elected to like keep in his hand rather than block with it, which does make me think that it's either a defense reaction or a combo piece. So Sam's probably just trying to pressure it out of his hand.
Yep. And we see the Spinal Crush here instead of the Crippling Crush. Sam probably trying to hold off that combo or something else, but the Soul Shield from Arsenal keeps Cody with those cards in hand and builds his soul up to a count of 4 right now.
Yeah, I think he probably couldn't have played the Crippling Crush because he did pitch quite a few reds. I think if he wanted to play the Crippling Crush, then he couldn't have he would not have been able to activate the Bravo ability.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam's probably thinking that if he can't activate the Bravo ability while also playing Crippling Crush, that's not really worth playing it.
Yeah. And Cody decided to keep a lot of cards in hand. He had 3 cards. He chose to just arsenal the one, and that was his whole turn. So it looks like I'm getting at least strong signals that Cody is either close to the combo or he wants to bluff at least that he is.
Yeah. Also, it could be that his hand is a little bit awkward. Bolton actually does draw into these like super awkward hands. When you have your deck oriented purely for the combo, where you just get hands like full of defense reactions, and sometimes like at least on the first go around, let's say if the Bravo is showing that he's like willing to attack into you, like you don't necessarily want to just like pitch defense reactions attack with a Centauri Saber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, if those are defense reactions, they won't be too much help against this Command and Conquer. This is the second one we're seeing come in, and those just can't be defended with defense reactions.
Yeah, we have to see if Cody has. There's two things. If Sam has a pummel for this, and he's playing blue and red pummel, so Cody has to watch out for that. So far, he's only seen 2 this game. And then on Cody's side, it could just be that he just has a lot of defense reactions in his hand. And if he has a combo piece in his arsenal, it's a really awkward spot to be put in.
Yeah, looks like Cody's choosing not to block, losing a Steelblade Shunt over there. So when one of those defense reactions from his hand, no longer a factor.
I think all things considered, that's probably one of the best things that could have happened. Uh, Still, all of his combo pieces are intact. You see, he does banish, or sorry, charge the Beacon of Victory, which is one of the combo pieces, effectively.
Yeah, Beacon of Victory would let him fetch Illumina if he didn't have him already. So
Yeah, I think Cody's playing a little bit conservatively. Not, I like he could have potentially charged a different card, grabbed the Lumina, and put it in his arsenal, but he knows that there's a Crippling Crush still waiting in Sam's arsenal. So probably trying to bait Sam into using the Crippling Crush before uh, trying to set up the combo. Potentially he has like one more piece in his hand already that he just wants to that's the one that's gonna sit in the arsenal.
yeah, we'll have to see what those 2 remaining cards are. They could also be combo pieces themselves and sufficient for him to go off. At this point, do you think it's wise to go off with just 2 Luminas possible, or is it worth waiting for that third one to really get as much damage as possible? Down to 14 life versus 38 right now against the Bravo.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think now that the Bravo has you know that the Bravo has a crippling crush. I think if you have 2 Luminas, you kind of take advantage of the situation to go off and build a life buffer. You still have presumably, hopefully, 2 Beacon of Victories and another Lumina, and Oath of Steel also kind of adds a little bit more staying power to the deck, although Cody did have to block with 2 of them already. So these are all things that kind of like factor into you. I don't think because Sam has pressured Cody's life so hard in the first couple of turns that he necessarily has the luxury of time. If he had the combo in his hand, he should probably just use it this turn.
Yeah, looks like Sam deciding whether or not it's worth blocking that Bolt of Courage. The on-hit draw is a significant factor, and at this point, with it dealing 3 damage, he'd have to block with 2 equipment that he might not want to tie up in that combat chain. Though I guess Courage of Bladehold would break the chain if activated, so that's not too much of a concern.
Yeah, Cody is gonna like you're gonna have to break the chain no matter what because you also have to play the Luminas. However,
Right.
not having like the extra armor, like the Arcanite Skullcap only blocks 1 in this situation.
Yep, Sam taking his time really thinking over all the possibilities here. All right. During this time, just want to give a thank you for all of our viewers. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to watch the games. Feel free to like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. This is Andy Modell again, joined by Yuanji Lee today. And it looks like Sam has decided to double block with a Pummel and a Zealous Belting, which would give it the +1 from Bolton's ability, but would deny the card draw effect.
I think now that Sam chose to block with the cards, if Cody did have the combo in his hand, you definitely feel much more comfortable about trying to like set up like a better turn next turn because it's super unlikely that he can actually play the Crippling Crush. You see
Yeah.
that Sam's hand has like so far been kind of stuck with a lot of reds. He drew a lot of reds. He had to pitch on his Spinal Crush turn, and then again on the last turn he blocked with 2 reds and pitched another one.
Yeah, we just saw a Crippling Crush go to the bottom of his deck. That might have been the one he tutored for earlier, or that could be number 3 with number 2 back in Arsenal. But right now, Cody has the full 5 cards available, 4 in hand, and we'll see how this turn plays out. This is far enough into the game where any turn conceivably could be that combo turn.
Yeah, I think the Crippling Crush that he got with the Showtime the Arsenal on the turn that he played it, right?
Uh,
I think Sam's Arsenal is the Crippling Crush. So he drew the third one.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought he might have had an extra card there. Anyway, over here we have Engulfing Light, which, while it might not look as effective going into the Soul on hit instead of drawing a card compared with the Bolt of Courage, I've definitely heard from players who play Bolton a lot that Engulfing Light is really the one they want to see people not blocking.
Yeah, having more cards in Soul overall, leading into the combo accelerates you. Basically buys you an extra turn, similar to what we said when Cody started with Via the Vanguard. Being able to put 2 cards in your Soul is basically 2 turns worth of setting up your combo. But then also when you after you combo out, one of the ways that you have to close out the game is to play like a really big Beacon of Victory on attack. So the more each additional card that you put into your soul is one more point of damage later on in the game.
Hmm. Yeah, and it looks like this is another careful consideration on how to block for Sam. Uh, while Cody does already have 6 cards in Soul, having a 7th card basically for free just accelerates the potential of the Bolton deck, I would say.
Yeah, you also have to kind of be careful. I think a lot of the games actually when you play as Bravo against Combo Bolton is kind of about preserving your life total as much as possible because after they combo, you kind of go into this situation where you're looking to like fatigue them even. So taking extra like chip damage is always kind of a risk there.
Mhm. Yeah, and it looks like that was all Cody had in mind for his turn, going back up. So keeping cards in hand, but choosing not to go off quite yet. This leaves Bravo, though, with all of that in tempo, all 4 cards in hand, the card in Arsenal. And Bravo can really, when he has all those cards, plus that Seismic Surge, do some dangerous things. We see over here an out muscle, which basically against Bolton is always going to have go again.
Yeah, Muscle is a pretty interesting card. It was originally much more popular when like the builds of Bravo weren't as tuned to being mid-range as an alternative to playing something like Rouse the Ancients. But he's playing both Outmuscle and Rouse the Ancients and Zealous Belting. So I think Sam's version of Bravo is extremely aggressive. He's just trying to go for as much pressure as he can. It's probably likely that he's in the realm of like 18 to 20 reds even.
Yeah. And he was able to get out of Cody's hand 2 cards that turn in total. So Cody's coming in here with another one of those Illuminates. I was over here thinking if he discarded those 2 cards and all Cody had were Luminas or combo pieces, he would be stalled going off. So keeping this Illuminate in hand does make sense. Now, at what point, as the Bolton player, do you start to get really worried? Cody's down to 7 health, Sam still has 35. The combo turn itself likely isn't going to be an OTK, but it would still have the potential of getting Cody enough life back that he would be able to aggressive his way into victory, unless he does get all 3 Luminas in. Is this crunch time right now, or is it still playing cool for the Bolton player?
I think the main thing is that you, as the Bolton player, like that he still has a Crippling Crush available to him. He's been kind of sitting on it the whole time, so it's like kind of figuring out like how are you gonna get your window to basically keep like almost your full hand. I think because he has the energy pot, he can combo off with a 3 card hand, but if you can only block 1 card, then you basically need the Crippling Crush to just kind of be by itself because Cody has 5 armor block +1. If he has no pummels, that's I think that's basically what you're hoping for. You're just like you just need a window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Cody still not going off that turn after the Illuminate hits, and Sam probably going to come in with some more potentially devastating, show-stopping attacks. Yeah, here he's activating Crater Fist, giving the attack with Crush +2. Crater Fist is a card we see a lot, but it doesn't always end up being activated. In the Starvo builds, it's usually just for the blocks or getting an extra ice card in for Channel Lake Frigid. But right now we have here a Crippling Crush coming in for 13 with Dominate.
Yeah, now this is beyond being able to block it out with 1 card plus your equipments. So this is quite a scary proposition. If Cody has I guess like 2 defense reactions, then he can live through this turn. Otherwise, it can be a pretty devastating turn for him.
Yeah, we'll be. We know that Crush effect is likely going to happen, so really seeing what the cards discarded are will probably determine whether this game is over here or if there's going to be some fight left in Bolton.
Yeah, on the flip side, if Cody does manage to live with his combo pieces intact, the Bravo should be running out of threats. He pitched a lot of his reds early on. You know that he has no more Crippling Crushes.
I thought he
Waiting.
pitched one of them, and there's one more still in there.
He led. I think the first turn of the game he played a dominated Crippling Crush. No.
This is number 2, isn't it?
I think on the first turn of the game he show timed and he got a Crippling Crush, and then he played it, and then he got another show time with the Imposing Visage, which is the one he just played, and he pitched a third one.
Right, so that third one is still in his deck somewhere. But
regardless,
regardless,
it should be on the bottom of his deck.
Yeah, it does look like Cody was able to prevent the on-hit effect with that timely Soul Shield and his equipment blocking. And now with 2 energy potions out there, Cody has the potential to to dish out a lot on that combo turn, even with a few cards blocked.
Yeah, I think ideally as the Bolton player, what you would want to see is the Bravo just like making a seismic surge and attacking with a Nothos. That's like your best case scenario where you can just block with the Arcanite Skullcap, the Gallantry Gold, and like one card.
Yeah, and over on the Bravo side, if he has any of those other go again attacks, 4 life isn't a lot. So if he is able to push over, Cody might have to sacrifice more cards from hand than he would like.
Yeah, I think as the Bolton player, you can really only afford to block with one card at this point.
And we do see here a Rouse the Ancients, which is going to be a 7 with go again. And it looks like there is going to be enough resources for a Nothos to come in following that.
Yeah, this is a super powerful turn. He's threatening 16 essentially, and then also getting to Arsenal the Spinal Crush for for a follow-up turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cody trying to figure out if this is going to be the game or if he's going to have enough to block and still have that combo punch left. We see an Oath of Steel, which is one of those I would consider a combo bonus on top of the Sink Below coming in here. And maybe Cody's just saving one of those combo cards for later, putting it at the bottom.
Yeah, if it is a Lumina Ascension, that's like best case scenario because you can have beacons to tutor it up later.
Yeah, and here we do see Anothos coming in for that final 6 damage of the turn. Cody
So
has
this
to block
Anothos
3.
attack is actually only for 4. It's
Oh,
only for 4 because he pitched a pummel to play the Rouse the Ancients initially.
ah,
He could have attacked for 6 if he wanted to pitch the Spinal Crush. I think he just wants to have the Spinal Crush for the follow-up turn. Dominating a Spinal Crush is pretty strong because basically shuts out any opportunity for the Bolton to combo off. Cody would need to have another defense reaction, like a 0 for 4 plus the 2 armor blocks.
yeah, if Cody has everything he needs in his hand and Arsenal perfect, he could block with the Arcanite Skullcap here or the Gallantry Gold, live, and then combo, hopefully gaining enough health to finish the game. But otherwise,
No, he can't. He can't combo with 3 cards. He needs 4 total cards to combo.
oh, right,
'Cause
to charge the
he needs
soul.
a
Yeah.
card with charge and 2 luminous.
Yeah, so then he's already in a position where he knows that Spinal Crush is going to come in next turn, likely dominated.
Yeah, so like I think like the only out is let's say if he blocks with a card he blocks with one card, takes I guess like a point of damage.
Yeah, and it looks like he's taking 2, blocking with a Courageous Steel Hand.
Yeah, I think at this point you're kind of hoping that the Bravo player draws a bunch of reds.
Yeah, if he can get off that Spinal Crush dominated, that. I mean, you've got what? 3 points of block and equipment to save your life, and then 2 damage over there. 9 damage coming in from that.
Yeah, although the Courage of Blade hold you can't really block with because you need it to generate like 6 resources.
Right. But if it does come in, I mean, Cody's only at 2 life, he would have to find a way to block 8 damage in order to live. Or
Yeah,
this
it's
turn.
definitely yeah, it's definitely a tough situation.
Yeah, and on his turn, he just drew up. So the ball is in Sam's court again to either finish the game or potentially give Cody one more shot at that combo. Sam checking Cody's graveyard just to get a full sense for what is left in the deck. Yeah, and all those 9 cards in the soul, one of which is a Beacon of Victory, we know. So while we're waiting for Sam to make his decision, Yuanji, what do you see about the current previews that we've had for the new set Uprising? Do you think those are going to shake up the meta, or has your mind mainly been focusing on New Jersey coming up in a few weeks?
I've definitely been paying attention to the spoilers. I think that Icelander, they're positioning her to be kind of like a anti meta deck. She has a lot of tools, especially with that new uh, channel card to kind of shut down some of the more powerful decks. Currently, like if you have one against the Bravo star of the show, he can't actually use his ability. And then likewise, it kind of can shut down Viscerai's turns. So I think it's pretty interesting the direction that they're taking.
Yeah. It's definitely something that's going to shake things up for sure, though we're still not getting that set for another 2 months today, I believe. So plenty of time. And it looks like right there, Cody is scooping, and this game will be going to Sam.
Yeah, I think Sam drew a good mix of threats so that he could continuously put on pressure. The way that he built his deck is pretty good, I think, against the combo strategy, being able to put on pressure between the out muscles, the what's it called, the zealous beltings, the pummels, and then interweaving that with the guardian attacks on the different turns. I think Cody's only real opportunity was potentially on the one turn that Sam took off to play Showtime, but it's pretty difficult to just like draw into combo that early in the game.
Yeah. Well, thanks for helping Yuanji for the co-commentary. This is 4-1 right now for the series between the Hyperloops and Team Foundry. So the Hyperloops going to be advancing on with a 4-0 record in the league for season 2 right now. This is Andy Modell. Thank you all for watching, and thank you Yuanji Lee, Krakow Calling Champion, for joining me at the commentary today. Hope all of you have a good rest of your day, a good evening, and whenever you watch this, thank you again. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we appreciate it all. Goodbye.
Bye.